Hi, this is Chatterboxing. I'm Sean. I'm in the pub again today, so I'm gonna a little episode of Boxing in the Boozer. Cheers. I want to talk quickly about Joshua Wilder, where the fight should be. Now, I've seen a few. I saw an interview of Wilder today. Obviously, Joshua talked about it the other day. I've seen people on YouTube. I've seen stuff on Facebook. So I wanted to say my piece on it. Now, this isn't to be disrespectful or dismissive of Joseph Parker or Luis Ortiz, because obviously they're both tough fights. Neither of them foregone conclusions, and we don't know who's gonna come through. But this is just hypotheticals. People are talking about it. You obviously got the sort of the US-UK rivalry, and it's something that people are calling for. So if everything from their perspective goes to plan, then that's the obvious thing that we'd be seeing next. So, a few things I want to talk about. So an interview with Wilder today, and he was talking about saying like America is like the sort of the mecca of boxing, and it's like the money and all this. Like, okay, so let's just address that first of all. Basically, America definitely has been in the past the mecca of boxing. There's no questioning that. I mean, so is Britain, to be honest. Like, if you're talking about going back in history, Britain was, and now it's not, or then it wasn't. Now America, I'm not saying Britain is now either. It's kind of like more international now, and really it depends on what weight class you're in. But in terms of the heavyweight division, there's no question that America has the best history. It definitely like in recent, like to the last sort of century or whatever. So that's true, but things change. Do you know what I mean? When was the last time America were like the best in the heavyweight division? I mean, people say like, oh, Lennox Lewis went out there because he had to go and prove it. Well, Lennox Lewis was fighting when he went out there. You had people like Holyfield, Tyson, Riddick Bowe. Do you know what I mean? Like all-time great heavyweights out there making loads of money, fighting in Las Vegas, fighting huge crowds. Everyone was interested. That's just not how it is now. Also, Lennox Lewis wasn't selling out like Anthony Joshua is in England. Not at all, nothing like it. So the situation is completely different. Now, let's get the money situation out of the way first, the most boring part of it, and then we can move on to the rest of it. Now, people say that America is where the money is. Now, America potentially could be where the money is if you are, but who's making money really in America now? Like Joshua. I mean, to be honest, only Canelo really that I'm aware of. And that's basically because he's Mexican. Same way Anthony Joshua's got a country behind him, he's got a country behind him. So it's not like your average person. I mean, really heavyweight. Who's making money in America at the heavyweights? Obviously not Wilder, not Jarrell Miller, not Bryant Jennings, not Dominic Breazeale. The only American I can think of who's made any money recently was Charles Martin. That's because he came over to Britain to fight Anthony Joshua. So, I mean, things change, and the market for heavyweight boxing is not just in Britain, but in Europe. I mean, before all that, you had like the Klitschko selling out for years. So, I mean, we had like David Haye, like big star. I remember like thousands of people flying out to Germany to support David Haye against Klitschko, and packing out arenas. So, this has been the case for quite a long time. Joshua sold 90,000, sold out the O2. Loads of times, just like that. Boom, sold it out within 10 minutes, whatever. Quite expensive tickets. Wembley, 90,000, no problem. Cardiff, what was it, 70,000, Millennium Stadium? I don't know. He sold that out to one for a mandatory challenger. Do you know what I mean? So, yes, if you were Anthony Joshua in the US, then potentially you'd make more money than you do being Anthony Joshua in the UK. But he's not Anthony Joshua in the UK. Who's Anthony Joshua in America, really? I mean, yeah, like some people know him, like he's sort of hardcore boxing fan. He's not a star in America. Do you know what I mean? He's a big star in Britain. He's well known around the world, but he's not. Like, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I'm aware, he's not a big star in America. He's not a Canelo or a Golovkin over there. He's not going to go and sell out some. Las Vegas, like the MGM Grand, Las Vegas, selling like tickets for ridiculous money for a load of like posh Americans to go and watch. Do you know what I mean? He's not going to do that. not obviously Wilder isn't. We know that. I mean, last sort of fight, I don't know how many tickets he sold. He was giving loads of them away. Well, from what I can hear, and they weren't particularly expensive. So they're not going to fight in Las Vegas now and sell tickets for the kind of prices that you can sell, you know, Canelo against Golovkin. So financially, the money isn't there. Just because it has been in the past, or it potentially could be in the future, doesn't mean that it is right now. So, you know, that's one thing. Also, the people going to watch it, like most of the tickets you'd sell, or like a lot of the tickets you'd sell, it would probably be like English people or like British people flying out there to support Joshua. So why should we fly across the world to go and watch the fight in Las Vegas when we can just get a tube or get a train up there, down there, wherever you come from? You know what I mean? And it'd be like obviously a much better atmosphere, much more of a, you know, an event. So, you know, don't get me wrong, I'd like to see Joshua fight in America, like a place like, yeah, MGM Grand, Madison Square Garden. A lot of respect for these places and the tradition, but realistically, as it stands now, it's not really that big a deal there. I don't think. I don't think you could put on like some big event in America, what Joshua Wilder, which could rival what you could put on in the UK financially, in terms of atmosphere, in terms of magnitude of event, spectacle, etc. No comparison. Now, the alternative, possibly to that, would be if Al Heyman and Wilder's team just decided, well, you know what, Joshua and his people are saying they earn X amount for this, so let's put our hand in our pockets and let's invest in Deontay Wilder. Let's us make an investment instead of just relying on Eddie Hearn and Matchroom and us basically to do everything. Let's put a load of money down and say, Joshua, we guarantee you this amount of money to come and fight in America, and by doing that, we'll then expose Deontay Wilder to the American public. And if he does manage to knock out Joshua, then that investment could possibly pay dividends in the future. I mean, that's something they could do. I mean, whether they do that or not, we'll see. I personally doubt it. I think they're just waiting on Eddie Hearn and Matchroom to take all the risks and make all the investments and organise everything. But, you know, we'll see. Now, aside from the money, let's talk about the fans element of it. Now, this fight has basically come about because Anthony Joshua has become a very big name in boxing. He's very, very well supported in the UK. Eddie Hearn has invested a lot of money in him, a lot of time in him. They've put in a lot of work. He's taken on challenges. Now, Deontay Wilder fans quite often try to tell me that, oh, they've got a similar record apart from Klitschko. No, they haven't got a similar record apart from Klitschko. If you want to say that the fighters they fought are similar, I mean, that's debatable. I mean, personally, I say Joshua's fought better fighters, but there's not that much in that, I suppose. But the fact that he's done that in like half the amount of fights means that it's not the same record. Because Anthony Joshua hasn't fought like 20, like 4 foot tall, 8 foot wide, fucking beer drinking, pizza eating bums like Wilder has. I mean, you watch some of the videos of some of his early fights. Look at the records of them. There's no comparison. So the fact that if Deontay Wilder had started fighting people like Spilka, what's the other bloke's name? It's quite good that he fought. Duapar, people like that. If he started fighting them after, let's say, 15 fights in, then he wouldn't have the reputation that he has now. Do you know what I mean? Like Joshua did, he started fighting these people. He's fighting undefeated fighters quite early, so that's why he's kind of built up the reputation, built up the support that he has. Yeah, he obviously had a bit of luck. He won the Olympic gold in his home city, so everybody was behind him originally. But he had a push. We pushed him. Like, we don't want to see you basically fighting against, like, you know what I mean? Like, just look at some of the people. I saw a video the other day they were showing. Just look at some of like Wilder's opponents. If they were trying to sell us these fights after like 15 fights, trying to tell us that this was like a big star, people wouldn't be getting behind it. So there's this myth that it's like exactly the same, and it's just because we're all a sort of bunch of mugs basically, and we just sort of support anything. It's just not true. Joshua was pushed, and he did what was asked of him. He took on every challenge, like at that level, much faster than anyone else did. Really, compare his opponents at a similar stage to people like Lennox Lewis, Vladimir Klitschko, Mayweather. There's no comparison. So he was taking on these challenges, and he's building up support. So that's why he is where he is, and that's why the fans who supported him deserve the fight to be in the UK. You know what I mean? We've done this now. Wilder suddenly, like, I tell you what it reminds me of, like with Wilder, it reminds me of, because he's all these fights. Everybody's talking about Joshua. He's like the new kid on the block. Fury's out of the game. Klitschko's like retiring. Wilder's there. I genuinely don't mean this like sort of disrespectfully, but just pretty much irrelevant, like in boxing terms. You know what I mean? And it's like his mates. He's reminding me like all his fans now. His mates sort of. He's like a virgin or something, and they're trying to get him to go and like talk to some bird. You know what I mean? In a pub or something. I was like, go on. Talk to her. Go and get a number. And they're really trying to like sort of push him to do something. And that's. I mean, it sounds like I'm taking a total piss, but that's how I see it. Do you know what I mean? With Wilder, so he's been given that kick up the arse finally from people that he's now got to do something. So he's made a lot of noise. He's talked a good game. He started talking. He's the scariest man in boxing history. Everyone's running scared. Nobody wants to fight him, and blah blah blah. He's basically this and that, or making his little Instagram videos. So Eddie Hearn went to New York, went to talk to his people. And he starts saying, like, I want 50% of the money. 50% of the money. I mean, I understand, like, negotiation. You don't go in there if you want, like, 30 and say, yeah, give me 30. You obviously start high. But apparently he's not budging from it. Now, I don't know, but that's mental if he's expecting, like, 50% of the thing. We all know that. That's absolutely insane. So if you're supporting him, asking for 50% and sticking to his guns, you might support him and think, yeah, if he does, fucking result. Do you know what I mean? He's got 50%. What a touch. But if he's genuinely going to stick to that and you're supporting him, then you're basically supporting him ducking the fight. So if you're saying that, Hearn and Joshua are using this as an excuse, like Price is out as an excuse, well, call their bluff then. Be reasonable in the negotiations. Say, yeah, I mean, if Deontay Wilder gets like 30, let's say 33%, like what Joseph Parker got. That's a brilliant result for him. That's, you know what I mean? A mandatory challenger gets what, 25 or 20%, depending on the governing body. If he's a champion, you know what I mean? A bit more respect for it. Out of respect, you give him a little bit more. Like financially, he doesn't bring 25% of it to the table. But you kind of respect him. He's a champion, so okay, making a load of money anyway. You want to make the fight happen, so you have to compromise a little bit. So like if he got like 33% or 30% or whatever. I would have said like 30% would have been fair. Obviously Parker, I think, is getting about 33. So yeah, same thing. Give him the same deal, and he should fucking bite your hand off for that. Do you know what I mean? If he's going to sort of dig his heels in and sort of say, "Oh no, I want more," then that's just realistically not going to happen, is it? And it shouldn't happen. I mean, there's a principle there. Do you know what I mean? You can't just build something up, you invest in something, you take what he's written, and someone just sort of does nothing, just fucks about for it, then turns up and just tries to take like half of like a thing which they haven't created. And obviously being a risk as well, because Wilder is a risk, he could win that fight, and then he could basically bollocks up the career in the short term of Anthony Joshua. So why does he deserve to take that money? I mean, he doesn't, obviously. He don't even bother like trying to argue that with me, because I just ignore it. But that is basically what, I'm saying he's talking all this, saying, like, so he priced himself out of that for now. Hopefully he'll go back on it, because I was starting to believe him. Do you know what I mean? I was thinking, yeah, he's serious now. And I don't really know how to think. I'm reserving judgment. I thought he's had his career. We know it's very lackluster, disappointing. He's been around for a while. So I was thinking, yeah, he really wants to do something now, make a name for himself. So I believe him. But now with this 50% thing, and now with this kind of backtrack and talking about America, and I'm starting to think like maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I should have trusted my original instincts that he's just all fart and no shit. We'll see. But you know, I want to see it. Do you know what I mean? I definitely want to see after all the talk and all the kind of I'm the baddest man, I do this and that. I want to see him come to. We talk about Joshua scared of him and everyone like. I want to see it. I want to see him come to England, come and do that because I think he's going to get a shock. And I'll be interested to see how he reacts when he gets there and he realises that Joshua is not remotely scared of him and basically just has contempt for him because that's what I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I think is going to happen, and I think it's going to. I think that's sort of dawning on him. We'll see, but you know, and if that fight should happen there, and then after that, then hopefully Joshua or Wilder, if Wilder wins, which obviously he's capable of doing, then you'd think that his stock would rise quite a lot in America, and then potentially down the line, if they do fight like a rematch. Then they can fight in America, and Wilder will be bringing more to the table because he'll be a bit of a name, and it won't just be the emphasis on Joshua to sort everything out. He can actually put some bums on seats, bring a big crowd, and then we'll see. So yeah, Joshua, like to sort of sum up, you know, I've gone off on a bit of a tangent. I would definitely want to see him fight in America. I like world champions to fight all around the world. So yeah, definitely I'd like to see him, but not for this fight. Firstly, because it would just be stupid on his part. And secondly, because I just think we deserve it a lot more than, you know, the rich Americans who are going to go to watch it at the MGM Grand, who won't anyway. If it was like in Alabama, I could sort of, you know, I wouldn't mind that so much because those are like loyal fans of Deontay Wilder who have supported him. I sort of think fair enough. I mean, obviously that's unrealistic because it's not going to generate that much money, but I wouldn't have a problem with that. But if it's just going to be like some, you know, sort of elite American audience, like why? For me, they don't deserve it. We do. So yeah, I can't think of anything else off the top of my head I wanted to say. I just wanted to, you know, say my piece, a bit of a stream of consciousness, like normal. So let me know what you think. Thank you very much for watching. Cheers.